Now, the government has approved legislation that will allow the Dublin Airport passenger cap, which is at 32 million, to be scrapped.
Jack Horgan-Jones from the Irish Times has stayed with us to discuss this alongside Graeme McQueen, Media Relations Manager with the DAA. Great to have you both with us, Graeme. Thank you for joining us as well. Jack, the 32 million person passenger cap looks like it's going to be scrapped. What happened in the Dáil yesterday?
I mean, that's certainly the intent. So yesterday, Minister for Transport Tahir Bryan brought the draft legislation to Cabinet and got approval to go ahead with that. So we should see those outline laws in the next little while. Basically, what they give him the power to do is to make an order removing that cap, which kind of bypasses the planning process that it's been bogged down in. He will have to consult with Commission Pleanála over this. But the big question, I suppose, is one, how quickly can this be done? There's a push from Ryanair and others to get it done before St. Patrick's Day. I'm not sure whether that's likely. But the other overriding issue is whether this attempt itself is going to be subject to a legal challenge, which could slow it down and leave us kind of stuck with it.
And legal challenges from various residents' associations, from people who live in and around the airport, Fingal County Council. Why was this cap put in place and why was it there in the first place?
So my understanding is actually that it relates to nothing like to do with climate policy, which you might imagine, nothing to do with the airport capacity itself, but to do with the approach roads to the airport and how much traffic they could handle. That's my understanding of the genesis of it, but it's been caught up in a load of other debates that aren't related to traffic capacity and are related to things like we talked about, like climate and also like noise emissions and objections from people living around the airport. So it's become kind of laden with other things.
And that's probably what we have to talk about, Graeme, because let's be honest, we've been talking about a metro. That's not happening. The M50 is in Dublin. It's a car park now at any hour of the day. It's always busy. None of these issues have been solved on how to get to and from the airport. Should they not be solved first before you want to bring in more passengers to Dublin?
Well, the reality is that the passenger numbers are already there, Miriam. We're at 36 million last year. We'll be there again this year. The roads getting to and from the airport are actually OK. Like, we had days last year with 130,000 passengers every single day. In the peak of the summer, the roads moved OK in the way to Dublin Airport. And that's the reality. We do need to invest in things like Metrolink. We've got over half of people now coming on public transport and by taxi to the airport. Big push on that going forward as well. We've got more buses than ever before. We've over 1,000 departures from the airport every day. So there are things happening to accommodate that larger number of passengers.
In terms of residents and key opponents to this, as you mentioned, that they've broken the cap over the last couple of years. So I listened to them on the radio yesterday. A lot of them felt that they haven't been consulted on this.
Yeah, and I think that's disappointing to hear because we do so much with the local communities. There's huge efforts going on. We visited over 300 homes last year to make sure that we're listening to people about the issues they've got. 23 million has gone into home buyouts, into insulation schemes. We're going to insulate up to 1,000 more homes in the areas around Dublin Airport. So huge amount of work going into that. Is it perfect at the moment? No. Do we need to do more? Absolutely. And we're going to do that over the years ahead.
I read in the paper as well at the weekend that homeowners in that area, they're being offered up to have their houses bought off them with a 30% offer above market rate. Is that?
Yeah, and that's been happening for years.
Is that from the DAA to buy those houses, or that Irish government?
That's from the DAA. We've bought a number of homes already in the area around Dublin Airport. So the ones most affected, the ones in the noisiest areas, we will buy the homes.
But it's expanding all the time. Like that area, like Ashbourne, when you're talking about where it is, like there's so much there's so many homes being built in that it's so densely populated, you can't buy them all.
Yeah, but look, I live in Ashbourne myself. I know the situation. So, you know, I think we hear a lot from the really vocal people who are concerned by the growth of the airport. We're concerned about it too. That's why we're meeting so many people. That's why we're doing so much work and spending so much money, because we want to make it better for them.
Graeme, what about the other airports around the country? There's already pre-clearance in Shannon for America, right? We've got plenty of great regional airports where flights could go there first, because let's be honest, a lot of tourists are coming into Ireland and then they're leaving Dublin. They're going west straight away. Why not just divert and solve the issues we have with transport in and around Dublin Airport before you bring all these new passengers?
Yeah, look, first of all, I agree with you. They are great airports all around the country. Cork, which is under the DAA group, is the fastest growing airport in Ireland. The reality is, though, that airlines don't want to go to those airports. They want to come to Dublin. That's the hub airport for Ireland. If those routes don't come to Dublin, they're going to go to Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow, places like that. It's not a case of Dublin versus the other airports in Ireland. The regional airports have a role to play, but Dublin is our national airport. If we're going to get routes to places like China, direct routes to India, South America, that's where we want to grow. That's where we see the demand. those routes are going to come to Dublin. They're not going to go to Shannon or Cork. If they don't come to Dublin, we see this week Glasgow Airport's looking to win direct routes to China and India. They're the routes that we want here in Dublin because there's huge demand for that.
The DA must be awash with money. Buying houses for 30% above market rate, obviously letting go of your CEO, Kenny Jacobs, quite recently with a suspected payoff of €1 million. Is that taxpayers are footing this bill?
Well, DA is a self-funded semi-state company, so any money we make is reinvested.
Who's in charge of these payments then?
Well, look, we're government-owned. The government is our main shareholder. We pay back to that shareholder. We've paid almost £100 million.
Has Mr. Darragh O'Brien okayed then those payments?
Darragh O'Brien didn't need to sign off on the most recent payment to Kenny Jacobs, but and I'm not privy to what that number is. That's media speculation that you're commenting on there. But look, DA is a massive multinational company. We've got over €1 billion in turnover as a company. We're very successful. We pay back to the state every year. I think 60-70 million has gone back to the state by way of a dividend because that's how successful we are as a company, and we want to keep that continuing.
You're talking about that billion turnover that you have. There is a group that has a €19 billion turnover, Jack, that got very invested in this yesterday. This is the farmers who have big issues with this increase in passenger cap when it comes to climate change, climate numbers and emission targets, saying how are they getting this when we're getting all this hassle being told about targets?
Yeah, so it was interesting to see who lined out in support or criticising the draft legislation that went to Cabinet yesterday. And a lot of it was the kind of usual suspects, the people that you might expect. So praising it were the likes of the DAA, IBEC, Ryanair, who wanted it done even faster than possible, and criticising it were kind of green groups and environmentalist groups. But I was interested, and I know you were as well, by the fact that the Irish Creamy Milk Suppliers Association was among the groups that came out saying that, look, this move is kind of quite clearly in conflict with climate policy. And the agriculture lobby is one that would feel itself to be at the sharp end of climate policy and its members to be vulnerable to the consequences of climate reform. So I think this is telling and indicative. They're obviously assessing that if pressure is kind of being relieved on one carbon-intensive sector, that of airlines, then it might come back to be borne by them in the agriculture sector, which is an interesting assessment for them to make, an interesting development, I think, in how climate policy is kind of seen by different lobby groups within the economy.
Graeme, your reaction to that, because we know that Ireland is a global leader in aviation, and there's all this talk about if we want to boost economic growth in Ireland, this is an imperative.
Yeah, look, it's not an either or. I think we as a sector in aviation know what we've got to do. Aviation emissions, though, account for about 2% of global emissions, so we know we've got a role to play. But the reality of having a passenger cap for the people listening at home is if we maintain that passenger cap, it's going to be harder to go on holiday. Flights are going to become more scarce. We saw last Christmas when the passenger cap was in play, the price of flights went up. I don't think we want that as an island nation. We're talking about an island that's going to grow to 10 million people living here, in the pretty near future. Our national airport needs room to grow. Otherwise, we're going to hit that ceiling pretty quickly. 0896 111 111. We would love to hear from you what you make of this passenger cap, whether you were in and around the airport, use Dublin Airport, or you think it should be spread around the country. Thank you so much for joining us. Graeme McQueen, Media Relations Manager with the DAA, and of course, Jack Horgan-Jones, political correspondent with the Irish Times. Thanks so much.
Thanks for that.